The wokeness was put in place for a reason, because black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a person's world. So please stop using that phrase and talking about, because you don't understand what you're saying.
A few days ago, we covered the explosive verbal showdown between the new White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, and Whoopi Goldberg. But trust me, what you saw was just the tip of the iceberg. We didn't get to show you the full, unfiltered details, the ones that had jaws dropping and social media in a frenzy. But buckle up, because what you're about to witness is next-level drama. And while you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's talk about the absolute meltdown that followed. The so-called woke mob lost its collective mind, and of course, they went straight for the low blows, mom-shaming her. Because apparently, if you dare to go head-to-head with Whoopi, the self-crowned queen of woke, her loyal army of keyboard warriors will come for you like sharks smelling blood in the water. And with this crowd, absolutely nothing is off-limits. Just a few days ago, we covered the explosive war of words between the new White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, and Whoopi Goldberg. But hold on, what we showed you was just the surface. There wasn't enough time to reveal the full, unfiltered exchange, along with the jaw-dropping reactions that followed. But don't worry, because we've got every last detail, and trust me, this is the kind of drama you won't want to miss. And while you're here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because moments like this, they're only getting wilder. Now, let's talk about what happened next. The so-called woke mob did what it does best, absolutely lost it. And instead of just debating, they went straight for the low blows, mom-shaming her without hesitation. Because let's be real, if you dare to challenge Whoopi, the self-proclaimed queen of woke, her devoted followers will come after you like a viral hashtag on steroids. And with this crowd, absolutely nothing is off-limits. Shocking, right? A woman actually daring to say, hey, my life choices don't have to fit into your one-size-fits-all mold. Unlike the left's rigid, you can have it all or you failed feminism mantra, Levitt brings a fresh, unapologetic take. She makes it clear, women who choose full-time motherhood deserve respect, not ridicule. Because, believe it or not, raising the next generation is just as meaningful as climbing the corporate ladder. But Levitt doesn't just hold her own in this debate. She completely dismantles the left's hypocrisy for what it truly is. Performative empowerment sprinkled with a heavy dose of mom-shaming. And just when you thought they couldn't take it any lower, oh, they outdid themselves. That's right. The so-called champions of facts, evidence, and logic just took a nosedive straight into conspiracy theory territory. They've officially traded in their science-backed yard signs for full-blown tinfoil hats. And now, they sound less like rational debaters and more like those street corner conspiracy theorists waving cardboard signs and shouting at the sky. And now, for their latest head-spinning conspiracy theory, brace yourself, because apparently Elon Musk, the guy revolutionizing space travel and reshaping the future of transportation, has been secretly plotting to take down Trump by pushing him down the stairs. Yes, seriously. Because nothing screams billionaire mastermind like playground-level tactics. And who's leading this intellectual masterpiece of a theory? None other than the highly esteemed investigative minds over at The View. The daytime talk show divas who seem to believe their coffee table rants double as congressional hearings. And why are they so riled up? Because Levitt had the nerve to expose their queen bee's nonsense for what it is. Now, they're out for revenge, and they want their pound of flesh. But who better to target than Trump and his powerful ally, Elon Musk? It's like watching satire write itself. But if they thought they could spew this lunacy without pushback, they seriously underestimated Karoline Leavitt. She fired back with some brutal truth bombs that didn't just shatter the ridiculous claims, they sent the conspiracy crowd scrambling to cook up their next half-baked fantasy. And of course, Whoopi Goldberg wasn't about to take that loss quietly. Instead of taking on Levitt directly, because even she knows what happens to anyone reckless enough to do that, she took the coward's route, shifting her attack straight to Trump. And then, in a moment so outrageous it felt like a scene from a cartoon villain's meltdown, she did the unthinkable, right there on national television. She spat after saying Trump's name, like she was some defeated movie bad guy tasting humiliation for the first time. Classy, right? Because nothing screams intellectual rebuttal like spitting on cue. But if Whoopi thought she could get away with that stunt, she clearly forgot who she was dealing with, because Karoline Leavitt wasn't about to let that slide. She clapped back with the precision of a surgeon and the impact of a freight train. "So this is what passes for debate now?" Levitt scoffed. "When you can't win on facts, you resort to playground antics." And honestly, she's not wrong. Imagine being so triggered by one man's name that you start spitting like a toddler refusing to eat broccoli. It's beyond embarrassing. No wonder daytime TV ratings are circling the drain. But Levitt didn't stop there. She torched the hypocrisy for everyone to see. These are the same people who constantly preach civility and respect. Yet here they are, turning ABC into a slapstick comedy show. By the time Levitt was finished, Goldberg's so-called bold move didn't look like defiance. It looked like pure desperation. And the internet? Oh, they noticed. Memes flooded in faster than the views producers could cut to commercial break. One user bluntly posted, "These women are going to have to hide at some point. I wouldn't feel comfortable walking down the street if I were any of them." Others didn't hold back either, pointing out that Goldberg's stunt was a direct insult to millions of Americans who voted for Trump. One comment summed it up perfectly. Literally, she spat in the face of every Trump supporter. That's half of America she just disrespected. Some even think Whoopi's little stunt was just a desperate ploy to boost ratings. One person put it bluntly, "I'm convinced they pay her extra to act foolish." Now, let's take a step back for a second, because we need to talk about what Karoline Leavitt just pulled off. Did she just expose the legacy media and Trump haters in one swift move? Because this right here is pure gold. Think about it. These are the same people who have been gunning for Levitt at every opportunity. From questioning her qualifications to mom-shaming her, woke journalists have practically made it their side hustle to drag her name through the mud. If Levitt so much as breathes the wrong way, there's an op-ed trashing her within the hour. But here's where it gets juicy. Off camera, when the outrage machine is switched off and the blue check bravado disappears, these very same critics are reportedly sneaking into Levitt's office to congratulate her. Yes, you heard that right. They're privately thanking her for the media access they couldn't get under Biden's press team. So, let's get this straight. Publicly, they smear her as some right-wing villain. Privately, it's all smiles, handshakes, and hushed whispers of, "Thanks for actually doing your job. You literally cannot make this stuff up." But should anyone really be shocked? At this point, hypocrisy isn't just common on the left. It's practically a job requirement. It's not just The View, it's the entire media ecosystem. They pretend to be taking on corruption while secretly propping it up behind closed doors. And Leavitt? She's just standing there, watching the whole charade collapse, front row seat in hand. And just like that, it happens again. Fresh off verbally dismantling Whoopi Goldberg, Karoline Leavitt barely has time to breathe before yet another woke journalist swoops in, ready to correct the record. But were they actually concerned about the fraud Levitt had just exposed? You know, the glaring issue sitting right in front of them like a neon sign? Of course not. That would require critical thinking. And let's be honest, that's off limits. Instead, they zeroed in on attacking Levitt, like a power-hungry hall monitor looking for a reason to hand out detention slips. But Levitt didn't flinch. She hit back with the kind of calm, razor-sharp precision that turns press moments into viral gold. "Oh, I'm sorry," she quipped, dripping with sarcasm. "I didn't realize exposing corruption was less important than satisfying your fact-checking fetish." And just like that, another mic drop moment from the press secretary they just can't silence. And the best part? The journalists, clearly rattled, doubled down. Because when you're losing, why not dig yourself in even deeper? Instead of addressing the actual issue, they kept nitpicking words, dancing around like the elephant in the room wasn't tap dancing right in front of them. By the time Levitt was done, it wasn't just a debate. It was a full-scale demolition. The journalist walked away looking less like an objective truth seeker and more like an unpaid PR rep for the very fraud Levitt had just shredded. It left me wondering, how does she do it? How does Levitt always seem 10 steps ahead of every question, every attack, every media ambush? And there it is, the secret behind Karoline Leavitt's lightning-fast responses and brutal clapbacks. She's not reading from a script. She's not running her words through a woke-approved filter. She speaks from the heart, plain and simple. Meanwhile, her woke counterparts need a focus group, a PR consultant, and a thesaurus, just to churn out the perfect, inclusive, yet outraged soundbite. Levitt? She skips the theatrics. No hypocrisy, no smoke and mirrors, just raw, unfiltered truth. The kind that hits harder than their prepackaged talking points ever could. While the left is busy twisting themselves into knots trying to avoid offending their own echo chamber, Levitt is out here saying exactly what everyone else is thinking. And the best part? She doesn't just talk a big game, she backs it up with facts, receipts, and a level of confidence that leaves her critics stammering like deer in headlights. It's almost unfair. While the woke brigade is busy workshopping the perfect insult thread on X, formerly Twitter, for those still stuck in 2016, Levitt is already 5 steps ahead, dismantling their arguments before they even hit post. In a world drowning in virtue signaling and fake outrage, Levitt's authenticity isn't just refreshing. It's a direct threat to those whose entire platform is built on smoke, mirrors, and selective indignation. So, when The View's very own Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg tried to reduce such a sharp, accomplished woman down to her looks, it wasn't just pathetic. It was downright disheartening. At this point, it's becoming obvious. The women on The View aren't just offended by Karoline Leavitt. They're envious. Envious of her intelligence, envious of her composure, and of course, envious of her meteoric rise to success. Let's be real, Levitt has achieved more in a few years than they have after decades of yelling into the void. And when jealousy takes the wheel, logic, reason, and self-awareness go flying out the window. So what's their brilliant strategy now? Easy. Say anything, no matter how absurd, petty, or downright hypocritical, just to try and drag her down. It's like watching High School Mean Girls, except with worse opinions and a much bigger budget. And here's the kicker. They can't attack her record. It's rock solid. They can't challenge her arguments. She destroys them effortlessly. So what's left? Cheap shots and empty theatrics. So, when all else fails, they pull straight from the woke playbook. Character assassination. Oh, she's only successful because of Trump, they whine, conveniently ignoring the fact that Levitt was already making waves long before she ever set foot in the White House press room. Funny how they never seem to say the same about a liberal mom balancing work and family. Because we all know the double standard runs deep. It's laughable. The more they flail, the clearer it becomes. This isn't about politics. It's about envy. Levitt is winning the culture war simply by existing. And the more successful she becomes, the louder their tantrums get. And no one proves that better than the very people trying to take her down. But here's the thing. Levitt isn't outsmarting the woke crowd just because she's sharp. Though, let's be real, she absolutely is. But it's more than book smarts or quick-witted clapbacks. This woman has real experience to back it up. Remember her congressional run? She didn't just show up like some token Gen Z candidate chasing retweets. She won the Republican primary, crushing her opponents like a freight train with no brakes. And who got left in the dust? Matt Mowers, a former Trump administration official who was supposed to be the frontrunner. Spoiler alert? He wasn't. Sure, Levitt eventually lost to Democrat incumbent Chris Pappas, but let's be clear, it wasn't some crushing defeat. She made serious waves, and that was just the beginning. Art, but secretly fear. Smart, resilient, and actually effective. Yep, as we've already pointed out, the ladies on The View aren't just annoyed by Karoline Leavitt, they're jealous. And who could blame them? While they sit on daytime TV recycling the same tired talking points and talking trash, Levitt is out here working for the most powerful man on earth. Let that sink in. They're complaining from a cushy studio couch while Levitt is shaping narratives from inside the White House. It's not just a difference in job titles, it's a difference in relevance. And here's the kicker. They know they can't compete with her intellect, composure, or political savvy. That's why every time they try to go toe-to-toe with her, it ends the same way. ChatGPT said, "Here's the rewritten version with even more punch and clarity while keeping it within the word count range." She made the establishment sweat. She wasn't just another talking head, she was a fighter. That campaign wasn't just a line on her resume, it was a crash course in real-world politics. The kind of experience that woke pundits pretend to understand while sipping overpriced lattes and drafting their next fact-check hit piece. So when Levitt steps up to the podium and delivers those sharp, no-nonsense comebacks, it's not just youthful confidence. It's the skill of someone who's been in the trenches, taken the hits, and come out stronger. No wonder the left can't stand her. She's everything they claim to support, but actually fear. Smart, resilient, and undeniably effective. At this point, it's obvious. The women on The View aren't just annoyed by Karoline Leavitt, they're jealous. And honestly, who could blame them? While they're recycling the same tired talking points and taking cheap shots from the comfort of a cushy studio couch, Levitt is working inside the White House, shaping narratives for the most powerful man on earth. Let that sink in. They rant and complain from behind a studio desk, while Levitt is out here making real moves on the world stage. This isn't just a difference in job titles, it's a difference in relevance. And here's the best part. They know they can't compete. Not with her intellect, composure, or political instinct. That's why every single time they try to go toe-to-toe with her, it ends the same way. Levitt is schooling them, armed with nothing but facts and a killer smile. Whoopi and her crew throw tantrums. Levitt throws receipts. They stir up manufactured outrage. She drops cold, hard truth bombs. It's like watching a professional fighter take on a bunch of armchair critics. And the jealousy? Oh, it's not just obvious. It's palpable. Because deep down, they all know if they ever had to swap places with Levitt, they wouldn't last 5 minutes in her shoes. Another brutal clapback from the undisputed queen of comebacks, Karoline Leavitt. At this point, it's like watching a master chef school someone who just learned how to boil water. And this right here is exactly why Whoopi Goldberg will never face Levitt in a real debate. It's not just about losing, it's about getting obliterated in front of millions. Whoopi might be loud, but noise doesn't win battles. While Goldberg is stuck playing checkers with half the pieces missing, Levitt is playing chess and winning every time. Every insult Whoopi throws, Levitt sends it right back, sharper and with a side of bless your heart. And deep down, Whoopi knows the truth. She can put on a performance all day long in the safe space of The View's echo chamber. But in a real debate, it'd be a knockout before the first commercial break. And with that, we wrap up today's episode. If you loved this breakdown of the latest political firestorm, hit that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered, hard-hitting content. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.